I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Michael Cashman.
Present.
Thomas Wood.
Present.
Barbara Hebert.
Here.
Charles Costick. Absent. Dana Isabella.
Here.
James Coffey.
Here.
And I, Katie Pucci, present.
All right. Is there anyone seeking to provide public comment this evening? If not, I'm going to throw it over to Councilor Hebert to make an introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Supervisor Cashman. So we're fortunate tonight to have a guest and a few guests with the guest. I want to introduce Melina Mitchell, who attends Prue Central High School and is a town of Plattsburgh resident. You are a junior? Going your senior year, right. And along with her are members of the North Country League of Women Voters, Betsy Metz, Susie Johnson, Betty Ann King. One of the annual initiatives that the entire league of New York State does is they have students participate in a program called Students in Albany. And it allows students like Melina a chance to understand responsibilities as a citizen, as it is respectful to the government. So she had the chance this year for the 2024 conference, and we can hear a little bit from the other committee members as well, just as a more detailed introduction. But she had the opportunity to have an interactive conference where she was with students from all over New York State that were picked. So she applied for this, and then she was nominated, and then she became the actual candidate. And so she's going to talk to us about her experience there. But before we do that, Betsy, or Betty Ann, do you want to just add a few things? Sure.
Melina's love of learning is reflected in college courses of math, science, art, English, and history. Her myriad interests include the National Art Society, the Robotics Club, the Butterfly Effect Club, the Film and Photography Club, and the Varsity Club. She helps others through the Students Against the Vanishing Environment Club, called SAVE, and is involved with the Positive School Environment team. She also volunteers with the Clinton County Youth Court. Melina said she's able to follow so many of her interests because these clubs meet right after school before her varsity teams start practicing, so it works out perfectly. In athletics, she has been chosen to the 2023-24 CBAC Cheerleading All-Stars. She is currently captain of the varsity sideline cheerleading and has twice been captain of the varsity competitive cheerleading. Comments from Melina's teachers including youth court administrator Chris Wiley. She's highly motivated. She approaches every task with enthusiasm and determination, always striving for excellence, remarkable leadership qualities, and interpersonal skills. She also fosters very much a learning environment. And there's a question on the Students Inside Albany application which states, tell us honestly why you feel we should choose you to be our delegate to the Students Inside Albany conference. Melina's response begins with, I should be chosen because I believe that my purpose is to make a difference. From a young age, I was always told about my potential to do great things. From my grades to my persevering attitude, I knew that I would be able one day to achieve something that would better the lives of so many people. So,
Diane, did you want to add any additional information?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a very brief description of how we got so involved with Students Inside Albany. The first Student Inside Albany conference was actually in the year 2000. And it has continued every year. It is 60 people from across New York State that are chosen, and it is an amazing thing. how we actually got started on this is about 20 years ago, Betsy and I went to Shazy and a couple of other schools. We wanted to see the history department, the social studies department, because we didn't really know what was being taught as far as civics or whatever. And at these schools, we would ask, you know, people, students in the hall or whatever, and we would say, like, who is your representative? Who is your assembly person? Who is your state senator? Not one of them knew. Not only did not one of them know, they didn't even know that they had a state senator or an assembly person. And that particular year was rather unusual and very well publicized as well, because they were both females, Janet Dupree and Teresa Sayward. So we said, we've got to do something about educating some of these students. We have got to do something, and as the League of Women Voters, we can do something with the Students Inside Albany program. Now, granted, we've had always sent people there, but we decided to amp up our our program, so to speak, and we did. And we were fortunate enough at that time to have a number of women that were able to go into schools and to more or less educate people, whatever. And I know my 2 minutes are way up, but anyway, we are so grateful that the program has thrived, and we are just so thrilled that Melina is here tonight to tell you about her experience.
Before we keep Melina even more nervous, Susie, is there anything that you wanted to?
No,
bring
I'm
to
just here for local
Okay.
color.
Okay, local support, I thought so. Yeah.
No,
Melina.
So, as you might have heard, I was chosen as the delegate for the Students Inside Albany Conference, sponsored by the League of Women Voters. And I pride myself a lot in my education and how hard I try in school, especially during like history classes. And like you said, I'm part of the Clinton County Youth Court, so I work a lot there. But even with all the research I try to do behind like the scenes before I applied, nothing could have educated me like actually being there, because I was one of the top students in my history classes for as long as I can remember, but I didn't even know that like how our government worked. I didn't know there was a separate Senate and Assembly for like individual states. I didn't know any of that stuff because we really don't discuss it in school. We only talk about stuff that's going to be on like big tests, like our AP US history tests or our Regents testing. So local government is really not discussed, and neither is statewide government. So this opportunity it taught me so much about how everything works, and I think that it should be an opportunity that everyone should be able to be eligible for, because it really just changed my life completely and how I think about everything. And now I notice little things, or like when I watch TV shows and they're talking about court cases and laws, and I'll pick up stuff that we just never even discussed in school. And it's just, it also motivated me to pursue law school, which I wanted to since I was young, but it really made me feel like it was possible, because especially coming from like compared to the city, obviously it's a low like populated area, so I felt like even if I try my very hardest in all those classes, it's I didn't have as much of a shot. But actually being there and getting sent there and chosen for this, it was just such an honor, and it really motivated me for everything that's to come.
That's great. Any questions or anything?
Any questions?
I just have, actually, I
Oh,
do
okay,
have a comment. The league, the statewide league has been trying to incorporate a statewide educational program for civics in schools, and to no avail. but it probably would behoove people to be, you know, somewhere, have one semester or a half a semester of, you know, some sort of civics. And that may improve our voting statistics because, you know, we just, you know, there's so many people who aren't aware of what government does and the benefits.
It's extremely important that that happen, and I encourage you as you go to college to make sure that you take not just the ones in your major in law, but take the other courses so you understand more about the society and more about the history, not just of this area or the country, but throughout the world, because it gives you a totally different perspective. And should you ever get the opportunity to travel abroad, I think that it just broadens your horizons and gives you another perspective on the world and also how good we have it.
Yeah.
But most people don't understand that, and they don't understand that's because we have a government and that we have local governments and that we have you know, state governments, and that people have to be interested in them doing. Otherwise, people who just want power take it, and the average citizen doesn't know what's happening. I am not campaigning nationally, but I've campaigned in the town of Plattsburgh for 25 years, and I know that hardly anyone really pays attention to it. I'm not saying that there's none, but the schools are just not doing their job in giving those civics. I didn't learn anything practically until I got to college. I mean, I did, but because, like you, I was interested in it, but you certainly learned it. So, congratulations. I just admire you, and I hope you continue on that path.
Thank you so much.
And Melina, I think our board is like that, and I'm sure Michael for sure is. You actually introduce reverse inspiration, so you know maybe you think we're here to inspire you, but you've inspired me. So think of it that way. And thanks to the League of Women Voter Committee members that are here because they gave us a great summary of what the educational component of the organization does do. So thank you.
Yeah, I would echo what Councilor Hubert says is, you know, I strongly believe in this concept of inspire by example. And the next generation leading in is exactly what's needed. You don't need to know everything, but continuous improvement and involvement is a critical component to our democracy. And local government is the closest to the people, right? It's you see people in local government at the grocery store, you see people at the gas station, you can come to a town hall, you can involve, and it's great that even state government too, that there's a different access level than the federal government. But I want to thank the League for a couple of things, because I think you deserve a PSA, and people don't necessarily realize what you folks do. You do it in a bipartisan way, which is so nonpartisan. Thank you, Sarah. I know I was going to screw that up. It's been a long day.
You did all right.
Thank you. But see, you got your own PSA in. But you know, with that said, though, from voter registrations to being there when new Americans are taking, you know, the oath. What an incredible, powerful thing, to being there at Clinton Community College's Center for Governance for Women in Politics. I mean, I could rattle off over and over and over, and there's been many, many programs that you folks have, you know, sponsored for our youth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To even hosting such things as candidate forums for individuals that are running for state and county and local politics, because dialogue is critical. And we need individuals to have the opportunity to hear from candidates themselves. And having that forum is very valuable. So if you take anything from your experience overall, I hope there's two things that you will consider walking away. Is one day, sooner rather than later, I hope, consider becoming a member of the League of Women Voters. And the other part to it is consider some type of public service. And public service comes in all forms and fashions. You know, local local government has zoning boards and planning boards and recreation boards and local volunteer firefighters and school boards. I mean, we can talk about, you know, sometimes it's not always running, you know, for office, but public service is the very core of who we are as a democracy, and your involvement is needed. When I first got here, not to say anything, and I don't mean this snarky, but when I first joined the town board, I was 34, and some of my colleagues, and we've shared this before at the time, some are no longer here, there was a big difference in age, and there's a big difference between you and I. So when I say we need the next generation, we need the next generation. So congratulations.
Thank you.
There's more time between you and I.
That's right, Tom. You're
I
also-
want to thank you for going above and beyond, because I know how challenging it is to go outside of your comfort zone and to travel to Albany. And I work with young people that we work with our elected officials on a regular basis through our program, and I know they will choose our legislative education day to go to that in Albany rather than to go to Great Escape. You know, over and over they have. So I want to thank you for, you know, really going above and beyond and getting outside of your community, because, you know, we are part of a much larger microcosm, and it's so important. And you have an influence on the young people around you. So keep sharing this message. Encourage others to apply. And wow, I look forward to seeing where you go in the
Yeah,
future. You
that's
got it
it.
going on, girl.
Yeah, you too.
I was gonna say,
I
I
know
don't
you-
think you need a lot of advice. We'll figure it out, so.
I know
Well,
you
I
will all be
had-
shocked, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but she did discover the difference between upstate and downstate.
Oh, okay.
There's
She
a
got to
difference.
experience that firsthand.
Sure.
That's an experience,
So-
yeah.
And that's not something you necessarily can get up
Okay.
here, you
Yeah.
know?
Correct.
But she did make that.
Your
I-
voice
Well,
matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone there thought that Albany was upstate.
I know, you're all
Yes, yes.
Before
Yeah,
that,
she
this
told
is-
me that. yeah.
This is wild, I've never been this far upstate. I'm like, I've never been this far downstate. And they thought that, when I told them where I lived, they thought I lived in Canada.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that too. Yeah.
I'd just like to say that I'm really proud of what we've accomplished here, because, and I'm too old to remember what year, but over 10 years ago, there was only one woman that had ever served on the town of Plattsburgh board. And within the last 6 years, we have 2 women elected to the town board. And yet, there's never been a woman supervisor. So, as it's happening on the national level, we hope that sometime it happens here.
It happens here. Yeah. But thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Michael would say, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. Melina, you have a free admission always, so if you do want to see what happens, you're more than welcome to stay. Thank you.
I do want to say that this is just, it describes the
Okay.
conference, and I'll leave them here, and
Great.
if
No, thank you.
you
Is
would
that-
like them.
Is
Yep.
that the one
Please.
that's?
Yes,
is that the-
well, it's more expansive.
Yeah,
It's
Yes.
about-
they
Yes.
brought some more things.
It's about this particular conference.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, so,
Thank you.
okay, thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
You don't have to leave. Our meetings
That's
are
what I'm
that
saying.
long.
All right,
I'm sure it'll be fascinating.
we're gonna marshal on.
Okay, how am I gonna do this now?
Just for my report, very briefly, I do want to acknowledge that we are partnering with the Clinton County American Legion to host a first of its kind at the Battlefield Memorial Gateway, a Purple Heart Day.
Wait a minute, wait.
And it's a first of a kind in the space. Last year when we opened the BMG to phase 1, the trail was dedicated to Purple Heart Trail. But we as a town became the first Purple Heart town in the North Country in 2017. So we wanted to actually begin to have an annual event that could be embraced by the community. Many communities do things on Veterans Day and Memorial Day and others, but we felt that it was appropriate. So it's gonna be on August 7th at 7 p.m. sharp. And the reason that I emphasize that is that we encourage the community members to get there a little early so that the program will be moving forward at 7 p.m. It won't be that long, but one of the key features, and everybody wish and pray for some good weather, as we've had a lot of rain this year, but one of the things that we want to do as part of the ceremony is that there will be a lap of remembrance around the trail, and it will also be a lap of reflection for those individuals that have given this incredible sacrifice on behalf of the nation. So I hope that you'll be able to attend. This evening is a work session, so draft material that is here for you for consideration is minutes, monthly report. Then we have 2 retirements, Jeffrey Zanger and then Donna is there as well. And then there is, for consideration, a park memorial donation for the Everest Rapidu Recreation Park. Is there anyone seeking to provide any committee reports this evening?
I just wanted to let everyone know that the Finance Committee met on July 15th. And again, Patrick goes above and beyond when he's here during his work hours, but then he sets aside every quarter an opportunity for our constituents who are part of this committee to get an update on things. So he, just to help highlight, he goes over the actual budget to actual for the second quarter of 2024, discusses the sales tax and keeps Bill updated on that. Talks about Michigan month, so that's important as well. And also that we're, consolidating the water and sewer district. And then he gives an update on capital projects. And again, I serve as a liaison in case I can fill in the gaps with information. Things that even Michael, our supervisor, certainly keeps up to date on, the main courier, and the sinkholes, the Connecticut Road, Idaho Avenue, and New York Road. And then, but again, our Finance Committee is diverse. It has gender diversity and age diversity, so we're moving towards that. But they're very well informed, and it's our opportunity to promote transparency.
Great.
Yeah, so I'll let you know.
Anyone else seeking to provide any committee reports?
I'd just like to say on the rec end, wow, what a stellar summer so far in rec programming.
Yeah.
Follow their Facebook, and you'll see they've been doing a great job with taking photos, all ages, all different kinds of programs. I'm just astounded. We have the 2 new playgrounds that are going in. Lots of stuff, the redoing of the field over at the Cliff Haven Park, which I love because we've been able to combine resources and reuse some materials, which is fabulous. We had more than 200 people at our first Music in the Park in Katyville, and it was blistering hot that day, so I will encourage people, no matter what the weather, other than rain, no matter what the weather is, it's beautiful down at the bottom of the hill in the evening. The shade comes down just perfectly, and there was a breeze across the field. There wasn't a breeze at the top. Thank you to the food vendors, Adirondack Food Therapy and Mr. Dingaling for coming in. It was great, and our next show is Monday, August 5th. Again, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock with town meeting. Food vendors, again, being there. It's just a great opportunity to get out, enjoy the parks, and hear some music. So just wanted to make sure that, just kudos the recreation department. This is, again, it's an easy time to shine when the sun is shining a lot. They've just had a fabulous summer. And I also, speaking of the highway department, are working really super hard these days between the sinkhole issue and starting the paving program. If you notice, they've been over working by Hannaford's, and so they have a robust summer without the issues of the sinkholes. So so, you know, I'm really, in awe and proud of these departments working. And I'm just singling out those two for right now, not for any reason of any others, so.
I understood there was a lot of good dancers at the concert too.
That's opinion.
Well, yeah, opinion, but you know, on grass, come
Do
on.
you have pictures?
And Dana, the two summer hires in the Parks and Recreation, they're doing a nice job. I've had a chance to interact with them.
Yes.
So,
Actually, all the
Thanks to
summer
them.
hires, B&G are doing a great job with their summer hires, recreation, they're just loving their team camaraderie and what they're doing, so I'm really excited about what we're doing out there.
Okay. Question, and the budget, how's that going along? Are all the departments, they're,
We're doing that this year?
no? We're not gonna do that this year? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, as I like to say, the department heads and the management team constantly, you know, budget is an everyday thing, so we're constantly looking at it. Obviously, we have some priority projects that, you know, almost become self-prioritizing. So we're looking at, you know, competing priorities right now and stuff like that. So we will be having additional conversations in the coming weeks about what that looks like. We're in what I would call the peak season for people taking some time with their families. So, you know, just trying to be respectful of that, but, you know, ongoing dialogue, but no draft material has been prepared yet at this point. So, but lots of conversation, you know, and I give everyone a lot of credit. I mean, since you know, we've been using the modified zero-based budget for a number of years now, and that really has allowed us to calibrate into the needs versus the wants, and it's worked really well to continue to stay under the tax cap. And I always tell people too that just because you want to do a project doesn't mean you have the bandwidth for it too. So we have to be respectful to how much bandwidth our department heads actually have to actually take on projects. Every office, I would dare say at the moment, is firing on all pistons, and there's not much more capacity for a lot of new things at the moment, like in this cycle. That doesn't mean that it's not for 2025 and beyond though. So we'll calibrate. Any other committee reports? Going once, going twice. All right, with that, we will adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:28. There is no executive session to be had. Drive safe, everyone. Going to an ice cream. I know I'm going to. I am.
Man,
Salted
sorry.
caramel.
We're gonna have to enjoy something.
Tom, we're gonna take a bet on the budget.
Well, I don't know that I'm gonna bet on that.
Yeah, okay.
I've gotta look at the different candidates one more time on this. And besides, are those the only ones, those ones that they put on the TV, or are there other people?
Well, the thing is
Melina,
that you gotta
so much
understand.
So, yeah,
You gotta
well,
understand.
come join our reality check team sometime.
They can't go with mistake.
And then you'll get to go to DC and meet on the
Yeah,
Hill.
okay, and
Yeah, look at her
I
eyeballs.
don't think, yeah, he shouldn't be.
But you can't, you gotta deliver state.
I work with 13 to 18
Deliver
year
a
olds.
state at one of those states, or
Invite
have
them
a
into the
different
tobacco
appeal that
industry and the vaping industry and how
Jim
they
doesn't
become
have.
people.
Yeah,
So,
okay.